Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, the chair of the Clark County Commission, Michael Naft, joins us here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain, moving 95% of our freight in the Silver State. And while essential, the road isn't always smooth. Supply chain disruptions, rising fuel costs, and unrealistic rules and laws that hamper our ability to serve our customers and country. Our prosperity and every sector of the economy, manufacturing, mining, medicine, and food from farm to table, is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
When the system was rigged, he took on the big banks and big tech and won. He built tools to fight fraud and protect consumers. And he stood up to Donald Trump right here in Reno when it wasn't easy. Now he'll put an end to the tariffs, raising costs on families, guarantee health care for every American, and keep fighting for our values, honesty, integrity, and the backbone to hold the powerful accountable. That's our Greg Kidd.
I'm Greg Kidd, and I approve this message.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
It happens. And when it does, there's UMC Quick Care.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're pleased to welcome to the program for the first time Michael Naft. He is the chair of the Clark County Commission. Pleasure to have you on the program, sir.
Well, it's my pleasure to have you here in Clark County. Thank you for being here.
It's absolutely my pleasure. And we have history that I wasn't aware of until this conversation prior to the taping, so that's really good.
Long-time listener, long-time fan.
Well, thank you. So let's start out with, you replaced Tick Segerblum as the chair of the Clark County Commission. What kind of changes have occurred since that changeover? And Tick's coming in about an hour, so yeah. Just want to warn you about that.
Well, I've been fortunate to work with a lot of chairs now since my time on the board. When I joined the board initially, Commissioner Kirkpatrick was chair.
That's what I love.
Helped get us through COVID and the pandemic and all of the challenges that faced this community and this county. Then Commissioner Gibson brought his wealth of experience to the chairmanship and led very effectively for 2 years. Commissioner Segerblum, just as you mentioned, concluded his term on the commission, and now as of January, I've been the chair now for 6 months or so. Some of the things that are really important to me, we're going to be navigating a pretty challenging financial picture here. We had our round of budget hearings. You saw that we've entered into sort of the first stage of cost containment efforts. What is really important to me is to make sure that we use this challenging period to make sure that, one, we manage it in a way that does not set us back so drastically, so draconian, in such a bad way that the county is still paying for it decades from now. And what I mean by that is during the economic recession that we all lived through, the county made some decisions that were extremely difficult, but I think now that we have that experience, we can do things a little bit differently. And what I mean by that is, instead of just cost containment, blanket cost containment, let's take out a fine-tooth comb. Let's look at line by line, and are there departments that are actually generating revenue for the county that we have to make sure are continuing to operate effectively to meet the needs of our customer? Are there departments, of course, that are essential, but those that will take just too long to recover from if we don't fill those positions as they go? These are the things that we are working on economically.
Okay,
Otherwise,
so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Does the idea of zero-based budgeting ever come up? Because I know that's a political byword, but for regular businesses, that's something that they have to look at.
Yeah.
Whereas in government of all levels, you look at a situation where this is the amount of budget we have to spend it all because otherwise we get cut back for the following year. There's going to be a certain percentage of increase for inflation. Whereas if anybody ever looked at, and perhaps it's something that's a multi-year project where you have two things going. You have your regular budgets as you would normally do it, but also look at what would be the potential for zero-based budgeting in tandem. Is that something that's even possible?
Well, the county is first of all, I think it is important to say the county is one of the most fiscally conservative entities in the state. That's why the county was able to weather the storms of prior decades better than anybody else, certainly better than anyone else in Southern Nevada. There's strong, principled people who run the finances of the county. Our CFO is, and my friend Commissioner Sagerblum can speak to this, really ensures that every penny that we're being spent is necessary, right? At the end of the day, there's two things that the county commission really does by definition. One is we set the policy for the county, and two is we have the fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers to make sure that their dollars are being spent wisely. Some of the things that I've done at the county related to this are, as an example, I chair the audit committee. When I joined the board 7 years ago, I think that's the assignment that they give to the new guy. I now get to chair it, and I've stayed on it all this time for just the reasons that you're getting at, is because one, it gives you a opportunity to take out a microscope into every line item in our budget to make sure that the dollars that we've already allocated are being spent wisely and appropriately, and that there's checks and balances in place to be sure that all 10,000 of our employees understand that they're dealing with the people's dollar. And then two, beyond that exposure, it gives you that oversight role, that additional oversight role. So I enjoy that. As it relates to the county's budget, we approve on an annual basis a little over $11 billion between all of the budgets that we oversee. Our general fund is largely obligated for through contractual obligations. At the end of the day,
so
we have a very
police, fire, those kind of things.
Yeah, staff contracts. We have 11 bargaining units, 11 labor organizations that we bargain with. Our contractual obligations are, we have 536 buildings that the county maintains from Bunkerville to Laughlin, things like that are essential services at the end of the day that we have to provide. But what I wanted to get to is that this is also an opportunity, for several years now, we've gotten to do things that are maybe wants and not needs. This is really a get back to basics moment for us. There are core fundamental issues that are in local government's responsibility and in our hands to do, and to do well and effectively. And I think I've tried to put a renewed focus on those things, making sure that, we continue to the ratio of police to citizen here in this community is so important with our police department, making sure that our ambulance response times are what the community demands and deserves. Those types of services, but also let's not be penny wise, pound foolish. Where we know that we can save $2 by spending $1, let's take advantage of those opportunities. And given the times that I think we are already seeing for a variety of reasons, and what we anticipate, that becomes even more heightened. That sense that we need to do that.
Let me ask you this. I was going to plan to bring this up later in the program, but this seems like an appropriate time. There's a tremendous pushback across the country on data centers at this point. and a lot of misinformation about this. And as you probably know from observing the show, that Story County is one of the sponsors of our program, and they have put in a large amount of huge data storage centers, switches there, tractors there. And even though at the end of the day they don't employ a whole lot of people, which in terms of traffic is actually a good thing, but in terms
traffic and all other a lot of other public services, right?
Correct. But in terms of the tax base, having to replace servers every 3 to 5 years is millions and millions of dollars that come into the coffers of the county. The amount of money spent on construction that moves into the surrounding areas, that is a good base. When you look at Clark County, and especially at Apex, the potential for data storage centers here, especially with Switch, is huge. Are you in favor of the data storage centers here? Because they have improved the water efficiency.
Sure.
Brad Kroll, who's going to be on this, well, by the time this airs, he will have already been on the program, is talking about these modular reactors that they both DOE and DOD are pushing so that data storage centers aren't taking power from Nevada Energy. They're creating their own power, storing the waste on site. Are you in favor of this? How do you feel about it?
Well, I think location absolutely matters. You reference Apex, that would, I think there's some logic to that. Switch is located in the district that I represent on the county commission. I've had a long relationship with them. We've had lots of entitlements on our agendas over the years that we have successfully advanced. And I think they have demonstrated, certainly in the early years, that they are a good community partner.
Sure.
But what we've done several years ago was that we have to start evaluating things when they come before us for land use entitlements, especially through that economic lens in a variety of different ways. And something that we have asked for more input on is water consumption, right? It's a finite resource here. We have taken extraordinary measures in the last number of years in southern Nevada, and that has to be a consideration. You're right. There are operators who are doing this really well in that space and being innovative and doing things that have never been done before. But there's also some that are not that way. And so making sure that you're looking at it not in terms just of how many square feet and how many dollars they're adding that moment to the economy, but what's the overall picture? Power consumption, you just spoke about, is a huge concern, right? There's NV Energy can only build so much and so in such a short amount of time. And so all of that has to be considered. And that's really, the obligation of the municipal entity in most of southern Nevada that is unincorporated Clark County. So we see it through that entitlement process.
Okay, but are you okay, for example, with the what is obviously going to be a nationwide push by the administration and these major departments to push these modular reactors so that NV Energy isn't affected, the consumer is not affected, the regular consumer, it'll be all done on site?
I would want to hear more from our departments who have a stake in all of this, and I just think that's an important part of the process, particularly in local government. We actually, as you know, have some of the leading experts in the state who work for us at the county. It's one of the things that I love most about it is you have expertise in a variety of areas, and so I think it's fair to, as federal policy is enacted, that we understand, when by we I mean me, and the residents of this community understand just what the domino impact of that can be.
It's interesting you say that because when you look at lithium, so you've got Thacker Pass up in Humboldt County, you've got Ioneer in Nye County and Esmeralda County. The federal government came in and the permitting went through much smoother than one might have anticipated because of the national security needs.
Right.
And with data centers, it appears that they're doing exactly the same thing, which is saying it's a matter of national security.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do you feel about that? That you're going to see pressure from the federal government to do this?
Well, we'll see how that manifests, but
okay, that's fair enough. Okay, what about AI in general? When you look at the county, a lot of people in the workforce of all kinds, not just in the county, are wondering about job security.
Sure.
But I look back historically and look at the Industrial Revolution and other industrial revolutions that have occurred since the major ones in the late 1800s, where jobs have been displaced, but other jobs are created. Do you feel the same way?
I think that sentiment is true, right? That's just what history would shown. First we got rid of the milkman, and now they're kind of back with delivery services being so popular nowadays. So I think you're right that these things.
What a great analogy, by the way.
But I think it is something that we all need to be cognizant of, aware of. I look at AI as the extraordinary opportunities that it presents for government, for local government in particular, I think, as an effective tool to help people, one, interact with their government, but two, to make sure that our employees are being as productive as possible. I think there's enormous opportunity for AI in government in those ways to help streamline services, to help, you talk about data storage with the immense volumes of materials that local government's obligated for storing and providing access to through Records Acts. There's lots of opportunities where it can make our lives better, but no doubt we got to keep the eye on the ball. We live in a society where people have to hopefully have careers where they can earn enough money to support their family and contribute back to society. And so ensuring that when we are investing in those sort of workforce efforts, we're not investing in workforce or careers that are from the past, right? It wasn't very long ago. You probably can pull up some shows where all the talk was about getting into coding. And even government, both nationally and locally, invested in program for coders. How can we get more people to go to become computer scientists and become coders? Now we see what's happening there. And I think that is a pretty thoughtful lesson in how we invest from a career advancement perspective and a workforce development perspective in our community.
Well, that also brings up the topic of, for so long we said you have to go to university. And now the higher paying jobs that have almost immediate results are in, what was considered manual labor, but now also includes computers and everything else. So in construction and those kind of jobs. So it's interesting to see how that has changed over time.
You're right. One of the most successful programs that the county has had in the job training front is a partnership we have with Workforce Connections. We went through an exercise and realized that one of the shortages that's impacting in the labor market that's impacting the county in a significant way is in EMS. And that's our world, right? We need first responders, we need people to be EMS certified, and we need to be able to, one, have them start through the community ambulance here. We have private franchise agreements with private ambulance companies, and we need them to have employees so that they can, one, service the community, and two, so that we have a pipeline to our fire department. And realizing that shortage was impacting that whole pipeline became evident to us, so we funded a small program to make sure that we can, one, encourage individuals to go through that program and that they would have the tools they would need to succeed. That's been an effective program. That's something that I don't think is going away anytime soon. And so if taxpayers are going to invest in these types of workforce training programs for the greater good, then I think you got to be very mindful about what we're investing in, and that it's as future-proof as is possible.
And also to deal with the fact that AI is a tool that is helpful rather than being the be-all and end-all, which it is definitely not.
That's right.
Let's take a break. We'll come back more with Michael Naft. He's now the chair of the Clark County Commission after this time out.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
You'll be rolling with some swag during the $150,000 Spring Bling giveaways at Tamarack Casino. Make it rain with up to $5,000 in cash every week and 20 large in cash guaranteed during the grand finale drawing. We're blinging in your good times at Tamarack Casino.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. Our community is our foundation. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
2025 is bringing big changes for Nevada businesses. If you have more than 5 employees and have been operating for 3 years or more, you must now comply with new state retirement plan mandates. The Vegas Chamber 401k plan makes it easy, offering a proven, customizable, and cost-effective plan for employers and employees to save with tax advantages. Visit vegaschamber.com to explore options and see how the Vegas Chamber can help you start saving for your future.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Michael Naft. He is the chair of the Clark County Commission. You've been working on traffic issues lately. Share with us what you have accomplished, because it seems like it's quite a lot.
Well, thank you for asking. This is something that I'm extraordinarily passionate about for a lot of reasons. One, traffic safety, whether we realize it or not, think about it or not, it is something that impacts each of our lives on a daily basis. And it impacts everything else we do. If you don't feel comfortable sending your kid to and from school, if you don't feel comfortable getting yourself to and from work or taking your mom to their doctor's appointment, then nothing else really matters if you can't get to A to Z safely. And then you look beyond just the heartstring issue, right? If you haven't personally lost somebody, if you aren't personally impacted by a serious injury or a crash and it just doesn't tug on your heartstring, this is tugging on each of our pocketbook in an aggressive way. The state of Nevada loses $1 billion a year to traffic serious injury and traffic fatalities. The cost from a first responder perspective, the monetary cost aside from the emotional distress, but the financial cost is a killer. It's one of the reasons why we have some of the highest insurance rates across the country, and it is something that impacts each of our budgets, right? The public works budget, last year I think we lost over 100 street poles from people crashing into them. There is such a trickle effect on this issue, it's just enormous. And so several years ago, really on day one at the county, it's an issue I worked on prior to coming to the county, but on day one, we created something that has been so innovative and so effective. We were the first municipality in the United States to create an Office of Traffic Safety. It's been replicated actually around the world by others. But we created an Office of Traffic Safety at the department level. So we have a director who is an equal to the 38 other directors in the county government, who wakes up every single day to remind each of those other 38 department heads that they, whether they realize it or not, and I'm talking about, yes, of course, public works, but social services, I'm talking about our park staff, everybody has a role in their department, in their workload, in reducing traffic fatalities and serious injuries. That office has been a tremendous success. It has advocated for policies at the board level that have been put into effect. There are things that I'm really proud of. We have the Safe Sidewalk Ordinance, which is something that we adopted a number of years ago, which requires for the first time a detachment of sidewalks, which not only is that the safe thing to do to move the pedestrian away, but it also raises property values.
Sure.
That's why every master plan community in the country has detached sidewalks. They look good, high aesthetic value, they're safer, and they raise property values. That's a policy that's been put into action. This office is also a regional effort, understanding, the mayor and I always talk about different sides of the street. We're right on the border right now. And, at the end of the day, the laws have to work on both sides of Sahara. And that extends to our police department. We are one of the most unique jurisdictions in the country with an elected sheriff who has 2 councils that have to approve their budget. That makes us unique in that way. But they also have to follow different ordinances on different sides of the road. And so when it comes to the Traffic Bureau, that's something that has been really important to work lockstep that way. In the current supplemental budget, something I've been fighting for a number of years.
We have about 20 seconds.
Is increased cops in the Traffic Bureau. We are going to get that approved through my board, through Fiscal Affairs, and through the City Council to finally see an increase in patrol officers in the Traffic Bureau.
And that's where we have to leave it. A pleasure to have you on the program, sir. Congratulations on being elected chair, and we look forward to you coming back, and whether we do it by Zoom or in person, we'd love to have you back.
Thank you, and thank you for your public service. You're an extraordinary educator to our whole state. We're grateful for it.
Very kind of you to say, sir. Thank you. And we'll be right back.
At Nevada Urban Indians in Reno, your health is our priority. Our medical clinic welcomes everyone. We accept all insurances, ensuring quality care is within reach. Nevada Urban Indians, your partners in health.
Carson Valley Inn, it's your place for the good times. Carson Valley Inn.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Welcome to the Ahern Hotel, where bold ambition meets unforgettable experiences. Feel your game day vibes and celebrate with great food at All-American Sports Kitchen, serving amazing flavors and fan favorites. Sip and savor at Aroma Barista Bar. Handcrafted coffee roasted to perfection. Step into the Ahern Live showroom, where concerts, comedy, and unforgettable performances light up the night. We also have the David Yule Art Gallery. It's the only one in the world, and his work is breathtaking. Browse the gift shop. It's a treasure trove of keepsakes, chic essentials, and one-of-a-kind finds. And the space. Almost 30,000 square feet of meetings and events areas ready for you. From weddings and birthdays to quinceañeras, trade shows, banquets, and beauty pageants. Bigger ideas? Let the Ahern team handle all the details so your event is flawless. Ahern Hotel, where moments become memories. Book your next gathering today.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. We'll see you on the next broadcast.